Okay, we are here with another RavenCourt interview. Welcome along this time. Once again, I'm Joy K, and I'm being joined by Kure. Hey, Kure, how's it going today?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. So, Kure, we've had some play days already. How did that go for you and your team?
Well, we lost both of our matches, but we had some close games, and the feel is kind of like we're just scaling for the playoffs. So hopefully we get it figured out by then.
All right, figured out in a sense of were there some stuff where you guys weren't quite on the same page, or how do you mean?
Yeah, I think definitely because the way our team is structured, we have like a lot of shot callers and like a lot of, chefs in the kitchen. So we definitely might have burnt down the kitchen this past weekend. But I think like the more we play together, the more we're getting comfortable together. And then we've had some issues with like roster and stuff as well because like Legacy, he was on vacation. So now he's back, but then now Gia is busy this weekend, so I think
Oh
like
no.
all three of our first matches will be with the sub. So like, which kind of because we only play 5 matches in the regular season, so like 3 out of 5 will be with the sub,
Yeah.
but our last two will be with the main roster, and then the playoffs will be, which is ultimately what matters. So we'll be able to, and we're getting some scrims in, so we're getting that practice in still, which is good.
That's good. And you have, I hope, been practicing with the sub. I don't want you to spill too much of the beans, of course. Um, with only five games to play, I do understand that it sucks a bit to be able to not be able to play with your full roster. But speaking about that full roster, I had a look at that when you guys when the rosters came out, and too many chefs in the kitchen was definitely my thought when I saw your picks. Talk me through your draft. How did it go? How did you end up picking all of these players?
Yeah, actually, so I went Make first pick.
Mhm.
And so the idea was kind of like, because I normally shot call and draft, but I've been getting kind of burnt out from that, especially because like I've been doing it for like the past 2 years, like in NA and like in international tournaments and stuff.
Mhm.
So I kind of like really wanted a shot caller and drafter. So then I got Make, and so on the way back, Gia was up, and Make and Gia, they played together, and they're both Swedish, so I figured we get that synergy there. I also like, so one cool thing about this team is like I've met everyone in person. So like Make, I met him in Miami. Gia, I met him in Berlin. And then so like Mopsio, I met him back in the HGC days
Mhm.
in a couple of HGC lands. And then Legacy, of course, like I've been playing with him for a while in NA. So I kind of just wanted like a team of people that I kind of all knew, like met in person. And yeah, I wanted to get some more shot callers and like people with like more experience just because like to me, I think one of the most frustrating parts of playing is like trying to get everyone on the same page or like try to teach people and stuff. And so I was just kind of like a little bit burnt out from that. So I was like, let me get some shot caller. Maybe I went a little bit too deep in like getting too many because now we're like making 3 calls at once. So, but I always think it's easier to get people to like talk a little bit less than it is to get people to like talk who aren't really that comfortable doing it. So yeah, I'm just hoping that I mean definitely right now it seems like we're the worst team. So I'm definitely hoping that it's just like a little bit of rust, and like by the time playoffs comes, we'll start to figure it out more. So that's kind of like the idea is like since we have so much experience, we just need to like get on the same page.
Mhm. Was there anyone up in the draft that you had to let go of that you had your mind that you had your eyes on, or did you actually just get everyone that you wanted, kind of?
Pretty much got, so I had a few plans depending on, because since I picked like they randomized the pick order,
Mhm.
and so I had the fifth pick. So to me it really depended on how the first 4 picks went, because I wasn't even really sure what role I was gonna play, because like I've played solo lane and DPS before in competitive, and I was even thinking about playing tank because like there wasn't that many tanks. So for instance, if
Mhm.
like maybe Hasu was up or Bishops was up, I probably would have taken those over Make. But it was definitely like one of my plans of like, let me see if I can get Make and Gia, and then kind of just go from there. So yeah, I was pretty happy with the draft, and of course, like getting Legacy was pretty good. So yeah, now it's just like a matter of like trying to figure it out as a team.
How is it for you and Legacy to play on ping? Because it's again like a tournament that is held in EU times on EU server. Obviously, is it like does it hinder you a lot? You have quite a high octane hero pool when you're bringing out your specialties, I could say. How is it to play on ping then?
Yeah, it's pretty rough. I've definitely been struggling a lot. Like I've been doing it in Storm League for like the past couple of months, and I've been able to climb pretty high.
Hmm.
But I think in competitive, it's definitely a lot harder because you just get punished a lot harder,
Yeah.
and it's harder to be like consistent because like sometimes you just need to like make a play. But with ping, sometimes it's like a coin flip, like if your ability is gonna land or not. So I've definitely been struggling a lot, but I
Yeah.
think like the more I get used to it, definitely like the easier it feels. But I mean, yeah, it's like something we signed up for, right? So like I try not to complain about it too much because it's like, why would you sign up for it and then complain, you know? So,
Yeah,
but yeah,
exactly.
it's definitely an interesting challenge though. Like it's something new, you know?
I mean, it's in. How does it affect like shot calling? Definitely now you have like Makio shot calling, obviously not on ping. So how does that affect that? Is it like you can't quite follow the
It's
calls in time, or?
It's definitely harder because like if I'm like calling to make a play, but I'm on ping, like sometimes I don't know if the play is gonna work, you know? So
Yeah.
like yeah, for sure. It's definitely a challenge, but yeah, I think just the more the more we play, like the more comfortable I feel, especially like playing solo again, because I've been playing like DPS, like you said, like high octane type stuff for a while. So I'm kind of like transitioning back into that style of like Blaze and Dahaka and stuff of like more safe and solid, which I think it's like better on ping because those heroes are just less punishing to play
Yeah.
since you just have like so much more health and you can still get value even like if you're not lending abilities as much.
So when this event came up, what was like your first thoughts, like
Yeah,
when you got asked to play or be a captain?
yeah, I was actually very excited because I think like captain's draft format is always like something new and exciting, especially I think in EU where for a while it's kind of been like Wa and Hardo's kind of winning every tournament.
Yeah.
And so like it seemed like all the talent was kind of stacked onto those two teams. So and even for me, like who I kind of wanted to get into the EU scene, but like as someone who's like a top player in NA, it kind of like felt weird to join like a worse EU team if that makes sense. Like not to be like an elitist or anything, but it's kind of like I would expect to be on
Mhm.
a top team. So I think like just balancing out all the talent pool. Like if you look at the in-house pool, I feel like the draft itself, like all the talent is pretty evenly spread out, which I think makes it more exciting because like any team can win on like even us, like even though we lost our first two matches, like three of those four games were like extremely close. And then pretty much all the games like this past weekend, like they could have gone either way. So I think that's like really exciting just to make things a bit more balanced. And so yeah, whenever they announced the tournament, I was definitely like really excited to be a captain. And I mean, I was hoping that maybe some more of the old blood would come back, like Bad Benny and Kopin and Yasu. So it was a little bit sad to see like some of them not come back. But at the same time, it was exciting to see like for instance Make and Mapsio come back, and so I definitely wanted to like kind of get that feel of like the old guard coming back again.
Mhm. Yeah, you mentioned that, and then you mentioned a lot of EU names. Is there any NA names that you would like to like personally have seen sign up for a tournament like this? No,
So
cheeky little
and
smile. Hmm.
NA is tricky because like a lot of the guys are West Coast, and
Mhm.
like the further west you go, the higher ping you get. So like I get
Yeah.
140, and so like that's already kind of on the edge. But like you go any further west than Texas, and so like for instance like Cattle or Liam, they'd be on like 180 ping. So I think for them it was kind of a like Madara. He's actually playing really well because he's got like 160. So
Oof.
and he's playing DPS too. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
he was the only one brave enough on the West Coast to do it. But yeah, it would have been cool to see like someone like Leon play, but that's kind of always a dream, and that usually doesn't happen.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a bit of a shame, but understandable as well, right? If it affects your performance a lot, then maybe you don't want to put yourself out there. It's brave, as you mentioned yourself. Ooh. Could I ask your opinion on the other captains?
I think they're all pretty good. So I played with Madara for a while, and like he's kind of learning more and like getting more into that shot calling role. So I'm pretty happy for him. Like their team won the first two matches, and then yeah, I mean I'm pretty familiar with all the players. Like I've pretty much met everyone.
Mhm.
Um, And yeah, pretty much everyone's got LAN experience. So yeah, only good things to say. It was kind of sad to not see Hasu be a captain, but I mean, he got first picked anyway. So I guess he was basically the first captain if you think about
Yeah.
it like that.
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of people have been approached, and a lot of people just didn't feel like taking the, I guess, kind of responsibility. It also is something, of course, when you're picking players, right? It's like in gym class when you're
Yeah.
picking a team, and it's so I get that maybe it gives a little bit of pressure. Maybe not everyone is up for that. Um, if you could wish for any event to happen this year or the next for Heroes of the Storm, what kind of event would that be?
Well, definitely, I think that another LAN event would be really cool. And I mean, we still got Kev, who's got, NLG in Miami.
Mhm.
So I'd say definitely keep an eye out for that for maybe another LAN event next year. I think there's definitely a really good chance.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you really want one, bug Kevin on Twitter, bug him on Discord, and
Bug.
make sure y'all support the prize pool and stuff too, and keep watching everything because that kind of shows that the hype is still there for the game.
Exactly. And hopefully, right now in Twitch chat, you will be seeing the link that goes to our GoFundMe for the prize pool, which of course goes exactly to the players that we are interviewing today. And if we are going over 3K, I believe, then there will be another event coming, and we will be saving that up for the next prize pool. So if you donate, you get to contribute to hopefully another event. But you'd be up for going back to Miami then?
For sure, and I mean, if they like, I really enjoyed the one in Berlin as well. So definitely,
Yeah.
if there's another LAN, I'm pretty sure, all the 30K guys would play. Or if they did like Nations Cup again, I'm pretty sure we'd play in that as well. So yeah, hopefully, I mean, it's always really cool to go to a LAN, like as well, since you've been to. I
Yeah.
think you went to all of them, right, as well. So yeah, it's
Exactly.
always a good time for sure.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Kure. And everyone in Twitch chat, keep watching. We'll probably catch you after this break. So don't go anywhere.